Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of Just a Fan Podcast. Do not adjust your screens. Yes, it's Wednesday night. Okay. We are on now every Wednesday at 8:10 to 8:15 Central, 9:10 to 9:15 Eastern. So we are on. We still here to talk about football. Y'all probably like, wait a minute. Wasn't the Super Bowl a couple of weeks ago? Let me tell you something. Just like this says right here. Let me point to the right direction. My caption says no days. And Just a Fan Podcast, NFL football is year round. If you talk to NFL executives, if you talk to the players, the season is year round. That's what we do. We're going to constantly be talking about football. There's always something going on in the world of football. So to right here to my right, your left, if you're watching the screen, your right on the screen, my left. We got 666, my man Steve White. He's on the camera. He's on the camera.
You're ridiculous. What's going on?
We want to send a shout out to before we get started to Coach Williams. He's moving on to bigger and better things. If you saw on TikTok, he explained he got some stuff going on that you may see him in some pretty high places later in the football world. And it's a conflict of interest to have a podcast about football and be in that arena like that. So that's why Brandon is no longer a member on camera of Just a Fan Podcast. He's still doing a lot of stuff for us behind the scenes. He's still heavily involved with the podcast. He's just not actually a host anymore. Okay, so getting right into it, we're going to be talking about some of the off-season and happenings. Off-season, I said seasoning. I'm thinking about cooking. The off-season happenings. There's a lot of rumors going on. You got possible contract extensions that could be happening, possible trades. We could be talking about people getting a franchise tag placed on them because the window is now open to put franchise tags on people. And then we have a slew of really interesting players who are entering free agency this season. And we're going to talk about where we think they're going to show up or if they're going to even leave, because some teams might work it out with like, hey, man, we don't want you to go nowhere, So starting right off, we're going to talk about some of these rumors. We'll talk about two playoff teams. One, I like to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. There's a rumor circulating right now that Dak Prescott could get up to $60 million a year. Now, Steve, you a Dallas Cowboys.
Over how long?
That's all. I saw the rumor said $60 million a year. They say
even 1 year is too much. Listen, you know what? I retract my question. Even 1 year is too much, man. Listen, I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, but I'm realistic. I'm tough on my team. 60 mil is way too much for Dak. I think he's a great guy. He's a really good player. He's a great player against bad teams. He's a good player against mediocre teams. He's subpar against great teams. He's not worth that. He's not worth half that, in my opinion. I get the market. I understand that, but that's more than Pat Mahomes annually. Yeah, we know Pat Mahomes had a 10-year contract for $50 million a year. but Dak's not. I think the body of work, he has to have better results to garner that. And even, I mean, that's ridiculous, man. He'll be the highest paid quarterback ever, and he's never been to a conference championship game. I can't substantiate that.
So my question is, because I hear what you're saying, and I halfway agree with you, but what would be the alternative?
So now this is my opinion. I think we're probably going to do that. I mean, we've oversigned several players in recent history. I'm saying it's not logical, but I feel like Dallas would do that because Dallas is usually we treat our players pretty well. We overpay players. We do that kind of thing. I don't agree with it. If we do that, I hope we can pay CD. Hope we can pay Micah.
I think CD is the priority, really.
Absolutely. Yeah. We got other guys to pay that like legit all pro players.
Yeah.
Like we got to pay guys that actually are the best at one of the best at their position, like top 2 at their position, if not 3. Dak's not top 5 at his position. It's just a fact.
Yeah, I saw something on Instagram a while back that just kind of blew my mind. I was just like, they had like the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, and you had like, of course Lamar Jackson's up there, and you had like Pat Mahomes, but they had like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes. I immediately just turned my phone off because I was like, first of all, that ranking is horrible. But then you had like Dak Prescott. Then you had like underneath that, you had like Brock Purdy, and then you had it was some other guys who have had more playoff success underneath that. And I'm like, is this in no particular order? Because if it is, I get it. Because I still believe Dak Prescott's a top 10 quarterback in this league.
He's top 10, but you can't pay him that because it resets the market.
Yeah,
but he's just not worth that. We have other players to pay, man.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a young quarterback waiting in the wings. We can go way cheaper. We could bring in some strong veterans that are available on the market. It's just it could be. It's not my choice, obviously, but I'm like, yo, if he's demanding that, if he's gonna walk, maybe he should walk.
As a fan, that's why I asked you, because there are some guys that could be up for deals pretty soon in Dallas that honestly are kind of a little bit more important. If you want to count your Micah Parsons, you count your definitely CeeDee Lamb with the season he had. But the argument could be made: does CeeDee have all those catches without Dak Prescott?
Well, yeah, but I also got to say this: if Mike McCarthy was smart, because he knows he's on the bubble. If he was smart, and I don't know the pull he has with personnel and who's on the roster. If he was smart, he would not have Dak under that deal. If he was smart, he would give Trey Lance opportunity so that his job could be insulated. Because if you start the young guy, Trey Lance, you could say, and we don't do well, he's still developing. He's still learning the system. He can use that. I think Dan Quinn,
like a buffer.
I think Dan Quinn is doing that in Washington. I know Dan Quinn is doing that in Washington. If McCarthy wants his job next year or 2025, 26 season, he would do that to keep his job. But I don't know. He'll be smart, but we know he's not really that smart.
Yeah, I just that's a conundrum, because in the regular season, you can't deny in the regular season that Dak Prescott performs. You cannot deny that. But when the rubber meets the road and it's actually time to really, when it's really time to make something shake, it just doesn't happen, And then I'm looking at the free agent list for the Cowboys next year. Jeez, I mean, You got CeeDee Lamb, you got Micah Parsons, Trey Lance, who you just brought in, his contract's up. So now you got to make that decision. DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin. It's some guys, and there's some other, some no-name guys. It's not that big of a deal, but you got some guys that are like, you gotta get this money out. And the smart thing to do right now is to go ahead and pay your quote unquote money makers now, with the cap going up to about 250 million from the estimated 242 is 250. So you got a little edge, you got a little room. Right now the Cowboys are about negative 21 million under the cap. But of course, when you extend people, you actually add money to your cap space. So that are already in the contract. So I just it's kind of a tough decision. That's kind of a conundrum. They kind of between a rock and a hard place. But yeah, it's kind of a weird deal that's going on in Dallas. The next thing I wanted to get off into, going from one playoff team to a team who actually in the NFC who made the Super Bowl. Talk about the San Francisco 49ers. Brandon Ayuk. You have a bunch of people talking about, oh, well, y'all need to trade Brandon Ayuk.
Wait. Who? No.
There's people that are saying that.
Who's saying that?
Oh, man.
I need names.
It's a few talking heads. I ain't gonna call no names out, but it's people that have bigger platforms than us. But then you have people that are like, well, we need to keep Brandon Ayuk at all costs. But we need to get rid of Deebo Samuel so we can pay Brandon Ayuk. And I'm sitting up here like, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to strip the transmission out the bottom of your car and sell it so you can tune up your engine. Either way, you're not rolling. Like this team does not, these are your guys that make your offense go, and they have to be together. Dude. You can't have one without, you cannot have Deebo Samuel without Brandon Ayuk. You cannot have Brandon Ayuk without Deebo Samuel.
They have potential to be a legendary receiving combo, man. Like Deebo's wear and tear is a lot, man. You have, and Ayuk stepped up big time. He's a second team All-Pro. Like, let me get this straight. There are rumors that, well, Wilkes is already gone, right? DC.
Yeah, we can get off into that later too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the defensive coordinator Super Bowl. Y'all let him go. If you're telling me you're gonna let go of your DC and your second receiver, who could be WR1 on a lot of teams, most teams,
he'll be a number one. You got to realize this guy had 13 yards.
If this happens, Kyle Shanahan is literally losing his mind. It's not a joke against people who have mental health issues, but something's happening to him personally if he does that.
There's a lot of crack smoking going on in the building, basically. I'm serious because you didn't win. You lost the Super Bowl in overtime to Kansas City Chiefs, which means you could play with them. Okay. You didn't get mollywopped. You went toe-to-toe with Pat Mahomes and all of them. There was a couple of plays that went, if they'd gone another way, you win this game. So your Super Bowl window is still wide open. You got a relatively young team. It's getting older, but relatively young team.
That's a Shanahan ego problem, man. That's
you have. I don't think it's a Shanahan thing. I think it's a Parag Marath thing. That's the capologist for the team. Now he has made some stuff shake in the past, but I'm pretty sure you saw the social media post by Brandon Ayuk's girlfriend and his best friend after the Super Bowl. It was like, the guy that got you there only got 3 targets in the Super Bowl, and this, that, and his girlfriend was like, "This might be our last time playing in San Francisco." And goodness. So they interviewed Brandon Ayuk, and he was like, "Are you interested in staying with the San Francisco 49ers?" And he's like, "Well, if it's the right move." And he's really emotional because this is like a clean out day at the facility, and it's like, hey man, everybody needs to calm down, stop being so damn emotional. Okay, because so here's the thing. You don't trade Brandon Ayuk because he's the number one target for your young quarterback who just was an MVP candidate. Okay, nobody has had chemistry with Brandon Ayuk.
Dude,
Jimmy Garoppolo wouldn't even look his way.
Dude, he's second team All Pro.
There you go.
Like he made a ton of huge, like second team
You do
All
not.
Pro.
And here's the thing, and because the people that's talking about, well, you know, they could trade him and get a draft pick and draft a wide receiver. Let me tell you something. Kyle Shanahan's offense, there is no wide receiver that's gonna come in year one and give you that type of production. Period. It took Brandon Ayuk a minute to get to that level of production. He constantly got better each year. He got better each year. He's up to 1,300 yards on a run first team. Where you gonna find a receiver that has 1,300 yards, 78 catches on a run first team? So
he is in the top 7 of receivers according to this list.
Yes.
Tyreek, CeeDee, Amon-Ra, AJ Puka, Ayuk, Evans.
Like, look at his yards per catch.
Oh, I already know. Know. Like,
but here's the thing. But on the other side of that, you know, you talk about, well, they got to make some room so they can re-sign him because we all in favor of re-signing. That's cool. But what you're not finna do is get rid of a Deebo Samuel. Oh, Deebo Samuel's making $28 million next year. We don't need him.
You can't do that either. You can't get rid of him.
Because he makes the offense go, even when he don't get touches. Because it's just like on Friday. There go Deebo. Who? Deebo.
You have to account.
You know, and it's like the defense doing that, looking at him next to, you know, here come Ayuk on a deep over route. Because they so worried about Deebo, or here comes McCaffrey on the screen,
or Kittle. You have to account for
or George Kittle. So it's like even when he doesn't get touched, like you let all the talking heads talk, like on ESPN and Fox Sports, they talk about what was the major knock on Brock Purdy? He can't win if who's not on the field?
Deebo.
So that right there says his value to the team is more important than. So the people that talking about they need to trade Deebo, go drink some bleach and take a bath with a toaster. Okay, make sure it's plugged in. You look
at Miami. Like that's why Waddle, you know, it opens up targets for Waddle in Miami because you have Tyreek to account for.
Exactly, and that's why Waddle is eating. Now Waddle is great, but he ate on the level that he ate because he had Tyreek with him.
Absolutely.
And it's the same offense. The same offense they run in San Francisco.
Absolutely.
So you know, you talk about, well, what's your answer here? It's really simple. Eric Armstead missed 5 games. He's worth $17 million. I guarantee you can find a defensive tackle that can give you Eric Armstead's production on a rookie deal. That's who you cut.
Okay.
You restructure Kyle Juszczyk, who's making $8 million as a fullback. He ain't gonna go nowhere.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
You restructure him. You say, hey man, we about to restructure your deal so we can make sure we keep all our players intact. Kyle's gonna be like, all right. Because he knows he's not going to make that type of money playing fullback nowhere else in the league.
And he knows
and had an opportunity to win another Super Bowl, a chance to win a Super Bowl. So you restructure some guys. Guess what? Deebo just signed his deal. You could restructure his deal, kick his money down the road.
Yep.
So it's like people had these knee-jerk reactions about, oh, well, the team ain't got this money, so we got to cut this person. First of all, like I said, calm down. Because this is a team, like when you talk about a team like Kansas City, San Francisco, Detroit, and and Baltimore, those 4 teams, you don't let go of nobody. You add to what you have because you're on the cusp of a Super Bowl trophy. Those 4 teams right there, they're on the cusp. So you add to what you got. Okay, well, let's see what's weak. Well, the right side of the offensive line is bad. Let's cut this right tackle and go draft a better one. Okay, well, you know, we were having trouble in the secondary. Okay, let's cut this bum back here that can't cover nobody and let's go draft a corner. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't cut the guys that help you get to where
the key pieces. I mean, you cannot.
You don't do that. You don't trade. You don't cut. And I'm gonna get off this San Francisco thing in a minute. But San Francisco lost Super Bowl in 2019. You know what they did the next season? They cut DeForest Buckner. I'm not cutting. They traded him to the Indianapolis Colts. It did not work out. They used that same draft pick that they got from the Indianapolis Colts, and they drafted Javon Kinlaw, who is basically a role player. He's not a stud. He's not the stud that Forrest Buckner was. So
Yeah.
that should be a lesson to you, John Lynch, right there. It didn't work when you tried that. You got rid of somebody that helped you get to the Super Bowl and ate the whole year long. And we'll just draft their replacement. No.
Yeah, and in his defense, and I know you probably don't want to hear this. He's put together a really good roster. I mean, it's hard to be a really good GM in the league. He's done a great job for the most part.
I'm gonna counter that with this. Adam Peters was right there next to him. We finna find out just how good John Lynch is.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We about to find out.
Okay, so he's saying he might have been the one making the decision and the moves, like a Jerry and Stephen Jones kind of thing.
We about to find out.
I got you. Okay.
We're about to find out this offseason. Because Adam Peters is now in Washington.
I got you.
John Lynch by himself making all them deals, all them decisions.
I got you.
We finna find out if John Lynch was really the man or if it was Adam Peters and John Lynch was getting all the credit, which might be one of the reasons why Adam Peters moved on, because he wanted his own shine. Hey man, I've been doing this, and this, and I ain't been getting no credit for it. I'm the one that drafted Dre Greenlaw in the 5th round. I'm the one that drafted George Kittle in the 5th round. I'm the one that found Jawan Jennings in the 7th round. I'm the one that found Brock Purdy in the 7th round. I'm the one that found Elijah Mitchell in the 6th round. So that right there, I think might have been the reason why Adam Peters moved on to Washington. And we finna find out, because if Washington all of a sudden start getting these picks that nobody heard of and these guys are hitting, you'll be like, okay, it was Adam Peters. It was Adam Peters.
Washington, I mean, actually hasn't done a bad job as far as drafting in recent history, to be completely honest. At least in the earlier rounds.
They got some good guys.
They do, man. They do.
Yeah. They got some guys, because there's a few guys on their team that I scouted. I was like, hey man, this kid can play. Why is he?
One of my favorite players in the league is Terry McLaurin. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. So
I ain't gonna lie.
And we about to find out just how good Adam Peters is. We're gonna find out if it's John Lynch or Adam Peters this season. So moving on. Talking about franchise, that people who could be possibly franchised. So I'm gonna read off some names to you, Steve.
Okay.
And it's like a top 10 kind of list of possible franchise. Okay.
Franchise tags. Franchise tags.
Franchise, yeah.
For the viewers.
Candidates for the tag.
Yeah, okay.
Candidates. Nobody's been tagged yet, to my knowledge. I've been checking my phone. But first of all, wide receiver out of Cincinnati, T. Higgins. He's a tag candidate. Wide receiver Michael Pittman out of Indy. Outside linebacker Josh Allen, Jacksonville. Cornerback L'Jarius Sneed, KC, Super Bowl champion L'Jarius Sneed.
Okay.
Running back Las Vegas, Josh Jacobs. He was tagged last year. They could throw it on him again. And here's the biggest one. It's the biggest one. Giants running back Saquon Barkley. He was tagged last year, but he's eligible for it again this year. And then last two, Jalen Johnson, cornerback out of Chicago, and outside linebacker edge rusher Brian Burns out of Carolina. These are all guys that who according to USA Today are likely to be tagged. That doesn't mean they will.
Okay. Okay. You gave me a lot of names. All right. So New York, they don't know what they're doing up there. What they're paying Daniel Jones. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing up there with anything. I don't know what the tag is for running backs. I think Saquon is extremely valuable to that franchise and to the locker room. You should sign someone like him long term. He's probably the big veteran on the offensive side of the ball. You got to keep him long term. It speaks to the culture in that locker room. If I'm them, but I'm not. T. Higgins, Cincinnati. I think you want to extend him. And I say that because,
so not to cut you off, but do you mean tag and extend him or just extend him?
I would say just extend him.
Okay.
Because Burrow he's a great receiver. Burrow needs all those targets. How do you feel about Burrow is contingent upon Jamar Chase and him being extremely beneficial to them. And he has to have the security with that team. I would do that. If you want to see Burrow be great, he needs those targets to be there. What's been working is having those targets.
And then also you got
well.
you got to also look at this. Tyler Boyd, the third receiver, is also a free agent.
Yeah, Boyd is what? Yeah, yeah. But I think he can command less because his production has been less, not because of ability, but because just
he's the third guy.
He's the third guy. So I mean, you want that core to stay intact, man. Who else did you say?
I'll go back to the list. Hold on, give me a second. I had it up here on my screen.
Tristan Higgins, Saquon.
Yeah, I like Michael Pittman. I don't think he's worth the franchise tag.
No, he's a good receiver. I don't think he's great.
Good. I think he's good.
They're figuring out a lot on because the thing is, when you pay a player, you have to think about what they will do in the future, not what they've done.
Yes.
And if you're thinking future, okay, who's our quarterback? We don't know yet. We got a young kid, Richardson. He got hurt. We may have Gardner in there. We don't know. So they're up in the air at quarterback. So until that's figured out, unfortunately, he probably shouldn't get paid that much if I'm a GM now because we don't know what we're doing there first.
I agree because here's the thing: the Colts don't have to franchise tag this guy. They could actually just pay him because the Colts have I think the 6th most cap space.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of that's why I'm like, you don't need to use a franchise tag if you got that much cap space.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in doing that.
The tag is high, man. Like you can give him 6 or 7, maybe $8 million, which is a great contract for him, And I'm sure he would love that. He's a WR1 there, but he's not like an elite receiver.
No, I don't think he could go somewhere else and be like the man. I just don't see him doing that somewhere else. And I think he just, hey man, just go ahead and extend him, give him a modest deal somewhere in the 20 to $22 million range, something like that. I think that's what he's worth. As long as they don't have a crazy GM like Trent Baalke did a couple of years ago and gave Christian Kirk this ridiculous deal that reset.
You always go back to that. You hate that deal.
I hate because he messed up the wide receiver market. Because you don't give a guy like that who's a mid-tier wide receiver. You got so many receivers better than him that you gave him that deal. And those receivers went into their GM's office and slammed down the newspaper and was like, this joker just got such and such. Dude, I'm better than him. Pay me.
That's my issue with Daniel Jones, man. Like, these guys have one good season.
And people lose their mind.
Reset the market. Like, what is going on? It's crazy, man. It's crazy,
Yeah, and it's like, so you're dealing with that. But again, if you're a team that's got a bunch of cap space, it's like just let it ride. Hey man, offer him a deal. Offer him a deal. And if he's like, no, I don't want that. Okay, well, bye, because we got enough money to go. I can get somebody better than you. That's your leverage. Teams with a lot of cap space got leverage. They can say, hey man, hey, look, we want you to come back. Michael Pittman, we're gonna give you this. We're gonna give you this $22.5 million deal over 3 years, something like that. No, I don't want that. I want long-term deal. Well, you know what? It was nice talking to you because there's somebody out there that we can go get, and we got the cap space to pay him. So bye.
Yeah. And I can even say, like, for Dallas, so Stephon Gilmore, there's a decision to be made there where he wants $11 million. And it's like 34, I think.
Mm.
No. I want to say 30. Yeah, 33, 34. And it's like, you had big injuries last season. I mean, you want to be with us, that's cool, but I mean, you were more of a luxury because of Diggs' injury, but like we got to pay other guys, man. And you're great for us. We like you a lot.
The worst thing that happened was having to extend Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb in the same year, possibly.
Dude, yes.
That throws off
everybody. That's the curse, gift and curse of drafting well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so when you hit, it's like, okay, we did hit on these draft picks, but
you're talking about all pros right here, man.
Yeah, and we got to sign both of these guys or suffer the consequences, and not be as good, So,
and they're 10 years younger than you.
Exactly.
Well,
so
Micah is.
I think Gilmore's gonna price. Gilmore's gonna price himself out of Dallas. Yeah. But like, go and talk about another corner, L'Jarius Sneed. Okay, so now you got Super Bowl champion L'Jarius Sneed, who was in one of the best secondaries in the league. He was like the linchpin of one of the best secondaries in the league this year. Kansas City defense was great, but that secondary was outstanding.
Yeah.
Underrated as hell. Nobody talked about Kansas City secondary. They were very good.
Yeah.
And he was a major part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, does he deserve a franchise tag, or do the Chiefs just go ahead and say, hey, man, look, this is a deal we're going to offer you. And people are picking us. We like number 2 to go back in 3. We picked a 3-peat. So why don't you just come on, take a little bit of change and come on, get this 3rd ring or whatever.
Man. I mean, you gotta someone like him. I mean, when you're a champion, you gotta pay up, man.
Yeah,
you gotta pay up. I mean,
and it depends on his mentality, because his mentality is like, I want another ring, or it's what, I got my rings, pay me.
Tyreek Hill.
I don't care. I'll go to a trash team and make $35 million a year, or something like that.
I mean, Miami's not trash, but Tyreek Hill. I mean, because you also have Trent McDuffie with KC. Like, you want to keep that secondary intact, but as a player, you want a ring. You've been balling. He could command some good dough somewhere else. It depends on what like you said, what the player wants. Another ring, or do you want to get your money? And most of the time, it's getting your money, because most players want money. I mean, being a champion is great, but
what's your motivation?
Yeah.
What's your motivation? So I don't think they should franchise. And right now, KC, based on the $242 million cap, Kansas City has about $15 million to work with, but that's going to change because it's going up to $250 from what we're understanding. So I think they could offer him a lucrative deal without having to franchise him, because I don't see that being an issue. Okay, so moving on, Josh Allen, not the quarterback, the edge rusher.
Mm-hmm.
He's a candidate to be franchised.
Yeah, he's a great player, man. I mean, they didn't make the playoffs this year, but I mean, to compete, they need him.
Yeah,
you can franchise and extend. By all means, extend. I mean, you a guy like that, you have to. You have to.
I mean, there's a guy.
He's a core.
There's a guy on YouTube named Chisel Adonis. Shout out to Chisel Adonis. He does NFL comedy. He does highlights, but it's like in a comical way. And he's like, Superior Josh Allen is on the tack on the sack. He calls him Superior Josh Allen. And then like he'll do a Bills highlight. He'll be like, Inferior Josh Allen drops back.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's out of order right there.
Man. You got to watch his stuff. I'm promoting somebody else's channel on ours. But he's hilarious. That dude. I'm gonna tell you what. When he does his weekly game highlights, if your team won, it's really funny. If your team lost, you don't want to watch it because he gonna clown the hell out of your team. So, but no, he calls it Superior Josh Allen, and honestly, he plays lights out with his hair on fire. Then you have the next one was we talked about Saquon, but Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Now his attitude might have changed because Antonio Pierce is not a coach and he's a coach's player. I mean, player's coach. Yeah, And I know that was one of the things Josh Jacobs didn't really like in Las Vegas was the atmosphere, but the attitude in the building is completely different now.
Oh yeah.
And they franchise him. I could see him. I wouldn't.
Listen.
I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't franchise a running back. Me personally.
No.
I just go ahead, hey man, just sign him, give him his money, and let him go.
Yo, Pierce. Listen, Pierce. He's a player's coach. New job. He needs to win now. The Chiefs been running the league. Pierce wants to come in hot.
A damn division.
And you need Jacobs to be happy and to be paid to immediately compete in that division, man. You have to. You have to. It's such a great message for the players that are there. And you show you're serious about winning. And he's one of the best running backs in the league. You have to make him happy. You have to.
Yeah. You got to keep him in the house.
But
Oakland, Las Vegas got to find a quarterback because, porn star Jimmy about to be suspended for 2 games. He wasn't starting anyway, but, who's your quarterback? It can't be Aiden O'Connell, even though he's decent. Aiden O'Connell's like a great backup. I don't think he's not going to come in there and light the world on fire. I just don't think
Jacobs is the second best player on their team, close second behind
Devontae Adams.
There's no question. You need him there. Is what?
Yes. Yeah, you got to do whatever you can to keep him in the building, including the franchise tag, even though it goes against my whole thing. I don't believe it in franchising.
I'm with you. I feel the same way.
But in this case,
you
got to make an exception.
You have to.
And the Giants ain't going nowhere. I would go ahead and franchise Saquon and get what I could for him. I would franchise him and see if somebody's gonna give up a king's ransom for him.
Yeah, just that. I mean, if you're the Giants, you make bad decisions as far as contracts and stuff. Keep him on the roster, pay him what he wants, so that you can try to win and make it make sense of how much you paid Daniel Jones. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Because that deal is what's really pigeonholing them. That's what's pigeonholing.
Make it make sense, man. I mean, I'm still waiting for them to make it make sense. So you got to keep it there.
It's not.
I know. Oh, I know.
2 + 2 equal chair. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It don't make no sense. You can't make that stuff up.
Yeah,
so moving on, Jalen Johnson. This guy quietly has been a shutdown corner for the Chicago Bears. Honestly, I believe, and as good as L'Jarius Sneed is, I think he's better than L'Jarius Sneed. I think he's in rarefied company in the top echelon of corners in this league. He just doesn't get the publicity because he plays for the Bears. But I actually watched the Bears games. I'm like, this guy's really good. He's just on a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so I know the Bears are trying to make moves because there's rumors about the trade that could possibly happen with Justin Fields. The Bears got $66 million in cap space. 66. That's not counting the extra 8.
They're gonna blow it. They're gonna blow it.
If you give him but my thing, if I'm the Bears, I give him a long-term deal. I show them.
If they, and I agree with you 100%. But they don't. I won't be surprised. They're gonna blow it, man. I'm not gonna get into their draft picks and their moves. They pulled a good deal getting the picks and bringing DJ Moore, but that front office is dysfunctional, man. People just be doing stuff.
Yeah, the Chicago fans are like, they kind of feel like Browns fans at this point.
I don't believe this truly comes down to the GM. I feel like it goes higher than that with a lot of decisions. I'm going back to the Mitchell Trubisky, drafting him and just the moves they made, man, getting rid of Montgomery and all kinds of stuff, man. I'm surprised they pulled DJ Moore, but they're dysfunctional, man. So I don't know what they're doing, getting Fields, having him come in, him not throwing the ball to receivers and all that kind of stuff. They're all over the place, man. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know about the Bears, man. I can't even speak on it.
Titus said they should draft a quarterback and load up free agency. And honestly, they have the cheddar to do it. That's the crazy part. They could really, if they Steve, notwithstanding what you said, because you said can be dysfunctional in the front office, and I agree. But if they have everything they need to be successful, they could 180 the team in 1 year. They have enough money.
They've had it.
Draft picks. They
But
have all of that.
But they've had it, man. They had DJ Moore. I mean, they've had it. They just, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think it starts and stops at the quarterback. And Fields is not the guy. He does not like throwing the ball. They said from snap to throw, they said he's had the lowest attempts in the past 25 years. They said he does not make NFL throws to receivers that are open as far as NFL stand. He holds the ball and he runs. He does not throw the ball. Like, it starts and stops there, man. Like, that's it.
I'm of the belief that he's, until he shows me different, I think he's like a one read, take off and run type of guy. That's what he's shown me, and he's got to show me something different. So I think the move would be to move on from Justin Fields, find a true pocket passer, and then put a bunch of freaking weapons around him, because you can afford it and you can draft it.
Someone who's going to throw the ball. He does not like throwing the ball, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I
hate watching them.
And then you got Brian Burns last on this list from.
He's a beast.
From Carolina.
He's a beast.
Again, another beast on a bad team.
They ain't got no players. You might as well have someone, pay someone so fans can watch somebody be good.
Yeah. So
they ain't got nobody, man. Pay him what he wants.
Okay, does he want to stay there? Does he want out? Now, from what I've been hearing, they're very far apart on a deal. So I think they're going to slap him with a franchise tag, let somebody try to grab him and try to, get the picks, the capital from the trade, or from the free agency rather.
Well, I think they know they're not gonna go anywhere. So I mean, because some teams actually do know that. So like, if you want to sell tickets, like, he's the best person they have on their team. People not going there to see, Thielen. They're going there to see. I mean, he's the best player, man.
Yeah.
I would just try to pay him when he wants to make him happy to sell some tickets. But the Panthers are very far from being competitive, in my opinion. They just are.
Yeah, they're at the bottom of an already bad division. So
they're terrible, man.
Yeah, so those are some franchise candidates. If you can think of anybody else, guys that are watching, make sure y'all go ahead and put that in the comment box, and we'll talk about it. And we can kind of discuss that. Right now, we're gonna move on and talk about some of these big name free agents that are coming out. And I'm gonna just riddle them off, Steve, and you tell me, do you think they'll get re-signed by their current team, or will they get a big deal somewhere else? And if so, where do you think they fit? So the first one on the list is Chris Jones, defensive lineman out of Kansas City.
Oh, you gotta resign him.
I know what I would do, but do you think he'll resign?
I think Andy Reid is smart, and I think he is the sole reason why Purdy was under any kind of pressure from the interior D line. You have to keep that in place.
And see,
he's the best defensive player they have. The third best player on the team, if not the second, behind Mahomes. To be honest.
Yeah, and I mean the third down in the red zone in overtime in the Super Bowl,
dude.
Now granted, the guard completely missed his assignment because he's an idiot, but Chris Jones applied the pressure that made Brock Purdy have to throw that ball away instead of connected on a wide open Jawan Jennings. And he also had a wide open Brandon Ayuk in the back. That was Chris Jones.
He's the first team All-Pro this year, among other years. He's the best defensive tackle in the league. I don't know why Aaron Donald's there. He's the best tackle in the league. Like, you have to sign him. You have to. There's no question about it.
I think he's a must sign. I think they go ahead and give him a lucrative deal.
Have to, man.
And now you go back and look at L'Jarius Sneed, you might have to slap a franchise tag on L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have to give Chris Jones this really lucrative contract, or you give Chris Jones this big contract, you offer L'Jarius a nice deal, and if he doesn't take it, it's like, hey man, we're gonna move on. But in the terms of priorities, Chris Jones over L'Jarius Sneed, I take Chris Jones every time.
Dude, listen, it starts in the trenches, man, and he wrecks offensive lines. I mean, you have to. He's a big reason why they got as far as they did. I mean, one of the main reasons why, to be honest. You have to, man. You have to.
All right, so here's a big one.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins. Coming off a torn Achilles. The king of empty calorie yardage.
Yeah, nah.
He's Dak Prescott with a better PR firm behind him.
Yeah,
I've said that for the longest about Kirk Cousins. I say he's Dak Prescott with a better PR. That's all.
He's probably the best finesser in NFL history.
He has stolen so much money.
Yeah. Oh, he's a bandit. He's a bandit.
In his career, he is the king of the heist. Ocean's 11 ain't got on him.
Right. Now, they should not. I would just let him go. You got to pay Jay Jettison. Now, for Justin Jefferson, Jay Jettison, he wants him there because Kirk Cousins throws a lot. So Justin Jefferson gets his targets, gets his yards with Kirk Cousins being there.
He gets a lot of targets.
But to win games, you need a different kind of quarterback. You need someone that's cheaper. You need to pretty much clean house. Jay Jettison, he's young enough, they can figure it out and retool some things. He's still a beast receiver. His production could go down because of the targets, but if you want to win in Minnesota, you got to sign guys, and paying Kirk Cousins that much, it just don't make sense, man. It just doesn't.
So my next question, because I think we're on the same page, and I don't believe in paying him that much. Where do you see him?
You know what? I had a conversation a few days ago. What makes sense to me is him back in Washington. That makes sense to me. They need a better quarterback.
Wow. Yeah.
It'll be cheaper.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with someone who has ties to the locker room. That could be a possibility.
And the Washington Commanders have just $73 million under the cap, not counting the extra 8 that they're going to get. So
they could pay him a lot less than
that's not a. I can see Washington.
That would make a lot of sense.
I could see the Patriots.
Okay, I can see that.
I could see the Titans.
Because he's not. Listen, he's not. In my opinion, he's not a bad quarterback. I think he's a guy. I think, like you said, I think he's a tier 2 guy that needs a strong offensive coordinator. Not saying that Kingsbury is, but he needs somebody to tell him where to throw. And I feel like he's talented. I feel like he could work a lot of other places, man, that are just missing somebody that's more of a veteran in the league. I really believe it.
Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
So those are names, right? Just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Those are just off the top of my head. I'm like, it depends on how he comes off this Achilles. He's an obvious upgrade over who they've had. Now, is he going to get them to a Super Bowl? Let's pump the brakes. But he is definitely an upgrade over those teams that we called. Mm-hmm. He's an upgrade over the guys that's on those teams.
Yeah.
So
I say Washington because they're going to have a really, really good defense this year, I believe. And I feel like a quarterback that has the ability to complement that, I feel like Kirk Cousins will fit in really well there. Don't gotta do too much. Cause I think Washington defense is gonna be amazing. I think their Achilles is that quarterback position. If they had Kirk Cousins, I feel like they'd be really dangerous. I really feel that because the defense is gonna be great this year, in my opinion.
Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
Justin Matabuke, Baltimore Ravens, defensive lineman. I feel like, again, this is one of those. Remember what I said earlier in the show? You got the 49ers, you got the Detroit Lions, you got the Baltimore Ravens, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. These are teams that you don't lose no pieces. You got to go ahead and maintain your pieces.
I agree.
Because your Super Bowl window is wide open.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That recipe worked. The Ravens had a really historic defense this season.
And this guy played lights out the whole season.
You got to keep him, man. You got to keep him. You know, maybe get rid of one of your 8 running backs and pay this guy.
Yeah, go ahead and pay your D tackle because the
get rid of one of your 8 running backs.
The game's one of the trenches. It's one of the trenches. Yeah. So that's one of them ones. It's like, okay, when I saw Baltimore Ravens, I was like, no, they need to keep everything intact.
Yeah, for sure.
You reinforce all of your weak spots on the wall, but if your wall is solid right there, you don't pull a brick out.
Yep, you're right.
The wall is solid right there. You don't pull the brick out right there. You're going to find the weak spots in the wall. You reinforce that, and you don't create another problem. So Justin Matabuke, if the Ravens don't re-sign him to a long-term deal, I think it's a mistake on their part. Okay, we're staying on the defensive line.
And he's all pro.
Yeah. Yeah. If you made first team, second team, damn Pro Bowl, you don't let those guys walk.
You can't, man.
Yeah.
You can't, man.
So staying on the defensive line, Christian Wilkins, Miami Dolphins. He had 9.5 sacks from the interior.
Wow.
This year. They got guys on the edge that don't get 9.5 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's one of them other no-brainers.
You have to because he has production. I mean, you have a lot of veterans there that have big names and are living off the past. He actually had a lot of production this season.
Now here's the issue with that though. Miami is really in the hole cap wise. They're in a bad spot. They minus 51 million.
Because all the veterans they brought in.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how they're gonna do it. I mean, you want to keep them, but
they got to figure out something. Yeah,
I don't know if they can. I mean, that's a big hole, man. Like,
and you got a star player that wants a deal. So it's like, how you gonna get it done?
They probably can't afford him.
Yeah, so
I'm sure they would love to keep him. They can't afford him, man. When you told me that, they can't afford him. Yeah.
So where would you see him? Because I got a couple of places I could think of that could afford him. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like one of the places I'm like, where could he go that has cap that can make money? I'm thinking Washington has a lot of cap.
Washington got the most cap out of everybody, but their issues are on the edge. It's not the middle. The interior defensive line is pretty solid.
Right. Detroit, man.
Detroit is one of the people I had.
Okay, I thought so. I thought you. See, we here.
Yeah. Hey, Houston Texans. $54 million. There's a coaching connection there also.
He might be there. He might. That's actually where he might go when you say that. The cap hole Miami's in, Houston's cap space, the coaching connection.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know D'Amico wants him.
Yo. So yeah, I think that that would be a good landing spot for him. Again, y'all, all of this is speculation, but we're just kind of spitballing right here. As things start rolling with free agency, we're gonna be here to talk about it and be like, oh, we didn't see that coming, or we're gonna be like, see, we told you. So but let me see. We're gonna do a couple of more and we're gonna close out. Okay, we already talked about him. We talked about this guy. Mike Evans, Tampa Bay Bucks. I'm gonna do 3 at a time. Mike Evans, Tyron Smith, Dallas Cowboys, and Leonard Williams, Seattle Seahawks.
Okay. Mike Evans. If I were him, I would walk. He's already going to get his jersey retired in Tampa. He's had so many seasons being an All-Pro. I mean, he's going to the Hall of Fame. He is. I would imagine now he wants to win or at least be competitive. You know, Tampa ain't gonna be it.
And he got Baker Mayfield that they finna extend, throwing him the ball.
You being funny. Wait, you being funny. I know he don't want to stay there.
Fighting Baker Mayfield.
I don't know where he would go, man. A lot of teams can use him. I mean, if I
got a spot for him.
You think KC?
If he wants to win a ring, that's the only thing that's eluded him at this point. He made his money. If he wants to win a ring, I'm going to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to
KC.
I'm going to
or he can go to. You didn't say this. Now I know you probably have it on your list. Buffalo, because they're saying Gabe wants to roll out.
Gabriel Davis.
Yeah. Now he's not as fast as him, but
it don't matter when you got that catch radius. You ain't gotta be that damn fast.
That's what I'm saying.
Run a 4.8. It don't matter because run down there. I'm gonna throw it way up in the air and you gonna catch it. That's why he made Johnny Manziel look good at Texas A&M.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if Josh Allen with the way he throws erratically too, that fits perfect because he gonna catch a lot of the balls some guys can't catch.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad place for him. But
I don't know
the Bills are minus 55 on the cap though. That's the problem. Yeah. That's the issue. New England.
Baltimore can use him. New England, yeah.
But I think at this point with Mike Evans, and I can say I don't know him personally. I don't know what his motivation.
He's been there so long. He might, he probably got roots there. He probably want to, stay there. Like I get it.
Well, not just that. He's like, okay, I didn't want all this money. I didn't play it and earned all this money. I ain't got a ring. So that could be his motivation. He might take less money to go play for a contender so he can walk away with a ring because he's getting long in the tooth. Mm-hmm. So he's like, hey man, my career almost over. I didn't make my money, man. I need to walk away a champion, man. I done had 10 seasons of 1,000 yards, but I ain't got no ring.
Let me tell you, man, when KC won the bowl, I know a lot of veterans are like, yo, I need to go there.
Let me go over here and get this ring and go to the house.
There's a lot working there. I already got my bread.
Yeah.
I need this hardware to bring in the crib. I already know a lot of veterans are thinking that, man.
Nine times out of 10, it's usually this. The guy that made all his bread ain't got a ring. So he goes take less money, go play for a contender. Or you got a guy who's I didn't want a bunch of stuff early in my career, but I ain't got paid. I need to make sure I'm secure for the rest of my life. I'm going to follow the money, even if I go play for a damn tomato can team.
Yeah.
Some guys do that. Like, hey, man, I don't give a damn, man. Hey, man, they paying me $35 million a year. I'm finna go out here and ball out as hard as I can, even though I know we ain't going to.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's a job. Like, everybody want to get their money, man. Listen, when people say, oh, I just want to go somewhere competitive and they sign with terrible teams, listen, you getting paid. You guys get paid millions of dollars, man. Like, the championship is the bonus. They're getting a lot of money, man. So, I get it. I get the net, but they got to tell fans, I want to compete and win. It makes fans feel good. It sells tickets.
Tyron Smith.
Okay. We got to keep him. I think. He's been injured. He's getting old. He made all pro. He played really well this season. He was out some games. The fact that we're going to extend Dak, you got to keep your left tackle. There's no question about it.
Yeah, because honestly, who you gonna draft or who you gonna bring in? You kind of stuck with him, kind of. I know the consensus might be, hey, we need to upgrade, but damn, we minus 21 under the cap, over the cap rather, and who's out there that we can afford?
That is the most important position on the O-line aside. Well, on the O-line, you get a quarterback, that blindside tackle, you got to take care of them. It's been working to an extent. He's getting older. He had a great season last season, even though he missed some games because of injuries. I think neck or back injuries, but we got to keep him here, man. I mean, you have to. Imagine extending Dak for this crazy amount, which I'm sure Dallas is going to do, and then bringing in some new guy. Like that would be bizarre.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, that'd be bizarre.
Dangerous. Last one for the night. Leonard Williams, defensive tackle, Seattle Seahawks. Remember they traded to get him from the Giants.
Yeah, I mean they don't have much there. He's a really good player. If I were them, I would do that.
Stay.
I would do that. Yeah.
So here's the thing.
There's a lot of pieces in place. They have a new head coach coming in. You need some of your veteran pieces still there, man. You know what I'm saying?
Seattle with the $8 million bump to the salary cap, Seattle will have like $3 million.
They're gonna have him. They're gonna find a way to keep him. You have to.
They're gonna make some cuts and bumps and bruises and everything like that. But so that is a free agency preview. We're about to close our show out for the night. So just so you know, you can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on Facebook Live. We're of course on YouTube for those that are watching us on YouTube tonight. And then we're also we do periodic videos throughout the week on TikTok about different topics. But make sure our main channel is our YouTube channel. So please, if you're watching on Facebook Live or if you're listening on Spotify or any other medium, make sure you look us up on YouTube and say Just a Fan Podcast and hit subscribe, because we need the subscribers there. We got like a bunch of subscribers in all of the different places, but our YouTube channel is low on subscribers. So please, if you like our content and you really feeling what we're doing, and then you a football purist and football don't never end for you, we're the channel for you, because that's all we gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about NFL football. Coming up, we got the combine coming up. We got the draft coming up, and then, of course, the free agency period before the draft. And we're going to be covering all of that. And in the 8 weeks that lead into the preseason, we're going to be we're doing a division by division breakdown. And that's where you can have an opportunity to be part of our show. We'll go more into detail about that later. We also going to have a couple of weeks where we're going to have a viewer's choice show, where basically all you do is come into the comment box and say, well, what about my team? And how do you guys think? What do you guys think about da-da-da-da-da? And we'll go off of your topics. They got to be good ones. We'll go off of your topics. Go ahead, Steve.
We're also on Twitter and Twitch Live as well.
I forgot about Twitch.
So make sure y'all check that out. Apple, Google, and Spotify as well. So yeah, we're everywhere.
We are ubiquitous. But definitely hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We need it helps our algorithm out and gets us out there. I'm not going to even try to mince words. I'm going to seriously brag on us. We know more than a lot of these folks that actually have whole teams that they own networks. They own networks and they got whole teams looking up their stuff. And we just 3 guys with a laptop, 4 guys if you count Brandon with a laptop and common damn sense. That's what's lacking, because common sense is not so common. But make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, Just a Fan Podcast. We're signing out. Tristan will be back next week because we're about to really get into this free agency stuff, talking about combine stuff. We're going to also be doing a lot of scouting for different positions. So you can come in and ask questions about, hey, what about my guy from Illinois? He plays defensive tackle. And then we're going to be able to spit some info at you like that. So we're in the process of doing that now. So we're watching a bunch of film. We're ranking players. And I'm going to tell you right now, Mel Kiper ain't got nothing on us. Let's be real. All right, I'm gonna put it out there, man.
He's throwing shots. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hey, talking stuff, man. Talking stuff. I'm with you, man.
I'm sorry. They got some people that's making way more money than us that don't know as much as us.
I got you, man.
I'm gonna just be real.
Okay.
And it's time that the truth be known, and we need to get out there. Just a Fan need to be a show, a national syndicated show, and where we got Pat McAfee coming on our show. Hey man, well, hey guys, thanks for having me. This is what we trying to get to, y'all, because we're just fans and you're just fans, and we want to talk about football. So Pando 316 signing off. I'm pointing the wrong way. Nope, this way. There we go. All right, this guy right here. Go ahead, Steve.
Steve White, man, just a guy I used to coach, just play a little bit, just sharing my thoughts.
All right, and we are out. Good night.
Have a good one.